We're moving into the second section, or this 2A and B,
right,
of solving the problem, and we were trying to figure out, is it an interplay? And we realized more of a dance, a tango, if you will, between compromise and innovation. How do you use compromise and innovation to solve a problem?
Yeah.
So once you've figured out what you want and where you want to go, and identified, nailed what the problem is, how do you overcome it?
Yeah.
And at Proximity, I shared a story about compromise. I forgot my belt to my football equipment in high school. And I don't know if you know much about, how equipment stays on your body. A belt, extremely important to the pants of a football uniform. And I would say I compromised in that I didn't get somebody else's belt. I compromised in just holding my pants up with one hand. I was not starting, so I didn't make much gameplay. So it turned out fine because I stood on the sidelines and held my pants up. It was a little tough during warm-ups, but that was definitely a compromise.
Yeah, that's a compromise. So this is what we're talking about here, because often we hear compromise and we kind of jump to the negative side of things, right? We think, oh, we're kind of sacrificing what we want. We're giving in. We're giving up.
Settling.
Settling. But what we looked at during the conference was really fascinating. The definition for compromise really includes a lot of words that are more collaborative and solution-based. And I would encourage you to remember that and really kind of change the way you think about compromise to view that in more of the solution light. Like compromise really is a means to finding a solution rather than a road to defeat.
Yeah.
It's something that we should use.
You're not just throwing your hands up and giving up.
Right.
It's like whatever you want. It's the definition really is like a give and a take.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Think of it more as a persistence toward, solving a problem. Because it's easier to just throw your hands up and give it. Well, if we're going to compromise, then I guess we fail.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think most problems require us to be a little more tenacious than that. If a problem was so simple to solve that we can just say, oh, this is the solution, we'll take that 100% and we'll be done. Well, I don't know how much of a problem that was.
Right. And if it sounds really good to say a win-win, and I think that's not a bad principle of ultimately trying to get thinking outside the box, because I think where people get stuck and compromise is that instead of thinking deeply into the problem, and they're like, well, I'm just going to have to give up some stuff I really want, and somebody else gives up something they really want, and we're both just not as happy as we could be, and that's just the way it's got to be. Where, no, this is out of the box thinking, getting creative, where can we give and take until, and this is over a period of time. We don't have to, it's not just...
Absolutely.
Most problems that are big that we have to put this much time into require compromise before we get to any sort of solution.
Absolutely. I mean, it's every step along the way throughout the whole process. So this is kind of a great versus perfect scenario. You may have heard this saying, it's something along the lines of, don't let great get in the way of good. And what that means is it's kind of attacking the perfectionist approach of saying, look, this is the single solution that we have to have. This is the thing that we must do, and it must happen exactly like this. And if we don't get that, then we're going to write it off as a failure. And the problem with that is that perfect solution is often unachievable for all kinds of reasons, feasibility reasons, and so if we insist on reaching that, we end up being paralyzed, stuck in the process because we just can't get there. the alternative is saying, you know what, we put 10 times as much time, effort, money into trying to achieve this, and we haven't been able to do it. Or we can use a tenth of the resources and do this thing, which is 1 or 2 steps less. It's still good. It creates all kind of benefit and value. It's a valid solution for everyone involved, and it takes a tenth of what we were trying to do.
And we're actually moving forward again.
Right, and we're still moving forward. And see, this is the compromise that we're talking about, and that's why compromise isn't necessarily bad. It's just like you said, we're still moving forward. We just created a solution through compromise by simply saying, well, it doesn't have to be 100%.
Right.
98% is still pretty darn good.
Yeah, and don't you think perfection actually can hinder the process, because you remain stuck when you don't feel like you have the perfect solution.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can find. I think best even is a good way to could be a good way to describe it, because the best we can get is possible.
Sure.
In all, given the right compromise and conversation and working together, collaboration, you can't achieve perfect, because we're not perfect.
Right.
But you can get a best solution, move forward. And I don't know, Daryl, there's just I feel like there's some things that you just can't solve until you start moving forward.
Totally.
And if you remain stuck trying to get the perfect answer, you stay stuck.
Yeah. Isn't it better to move forward slowly than to sit still, to have a perfect destination but not be moving toward it?
Right.
You'll
talk to
get there.
the tortoise and the hare.
Right? He understood compromise.
Yeah.
His compromise was to move slower, but
Consistently. Yeah.
Like, that's compromise that is beneficial and helpful. So don't be afraid of compromise, because it is part of problem solving.
Yeah.
So use that as a tool. Next, we're going to talk about innovation, though, which is kind of the flip side of this. They really work together. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's almost always both,
Right.
as part of solving a problem. So we're going to talk about innovation next.
Right.